カンパリズン&インカムアプローチズページ262ディスカウントポイントインク
Residential sales comparison and income approaches, page 262. Discount points and amount paid to a lender, 1% of loan amount, when a loan is made to make up the difference between the current market interest rate and the rate a lender gives a borrower on a note. Discount points increase a lender's yield on a note, allowing the lender to give a borrower a lower interest rate. Discounting the process by some investors that uses the principles of TBM to convert future income or cash flows into present value at a specified interest rate. District, the narrowest of definitions of a market area. A district is an area consisting of one particular land use, such as multi-family apartment, commercial, industrial, etc. Dominant tenement, a property that benefits from an easement. Easement, a right to use some part of another person's real property for a particular purpose. An easement is irrevocable and creates an interest in the property. Easement appurtenant, an easement that burdens one piece of land for the benefit of another. Easement engross, an easement that benefits a person instead of a particular property. There is a dominant tenant but no dominant tenement. Effective date establishes the context for the value opinion. Effective gross income, EGI, potential gross income. Less vacancy and collection losses. EGIM, a factor derived and applied using EGI, the amount after estimated vacancy has been deducted from PGI. Elements of comparison, characteristics of a property or a transaction that can be used to explain differences in the price paid in a transaction. Equity capitalization rate, the capitalization rate applied to the expectation of return on equity, symbolized by R. Excess rent, the resulting difference when the contract rent exceeds the market rent. Excess site, a site that is not needed to support the existing improvements or highest and best use. Could have sell-off potential or be needed for future expansion of the existing or anticipated improvements. Extraordinary assumption, an assumption directly related to a specific assignment, which, if found to be false, could alter the appraiser's opinions or conclusions. Fixed expenses, ongoing operating expenses that do not vary based on occupancy levels of the property, e.g. taxes and insurance. Functional utility, when a building has the adequate design and features to be used as intended. Future value, amount of money that an investment, either a single payment or an annuity, at a fixed interest rate, for a specified period of time, will grow to in the future. General data, information that covers the forces that affect property values, but are not directly related to a particular piece of property. General data covers physical, economic, governmental, and social factors, pegs, and can be local or national. Gentrification, the process of rapid revitalization of properties in a neighborhood, which causes current residents to be displaced. Gross adjustments, the overall total of all adjustments applied regardless of whether the adjustment is applied as a positive or a negative. For example, a plus $1,000 and a $1,000 adjustment would result in $2,000 gross adjustments. Gross income multiplier, GIM, a factor that takes into account income derived from all sources of a property, e.g. vending, storage units. Gross lease, a property lease for which the landlord pays all expenses related to the operation of the property. Gross rent multiplier, GRM, a factor derived from comparable rental data, which is then used to develop growth, the first stage a neighborhood goes through in its life cycle. When property values rise as development activity begins and continues. Highest and best use, the most profitable, legally permitted, economically feasible, and physically possible use of a piece of property. Hypothetical condition, that which is contrary to what exists, but is supposed for the purpose of analysis. Intended use the use or uses of an appraiser's reported appraisal, appraisal review, or appraisal consulting assignment opinions and conclusions. As identified by the appraiser based on communication with the client at the time of the assignment. Fee simple the greatest estate, ownership, one can have 262 in real property. It is freely transferable and inheritable, and of indefinite duration, with no conditions on the title. Often called fee simple absolute or fee title. Intended user the client and any other party is identified, by name or type, as users of the appraisal, appraisal review, or appraisal consulting report by the appraiser on the basis of communication with the client at the time of the assignment.